Hey guys, Kev here, and I am ready to do a full review on the Ferum Forge Gent. So this is the Ferum Forge we made Gent Select, I think. No, I think this one's just the Gent. I think the Select is the one with G10 maybe. Comes in a few variations. They've kind of had a few drops over the years. This is sold on drop.com, and it used to be formerly known as Mass Drop. So basically it's a website where they kind of do like pre-order stuff, and you can order it, and you basically get a better price than normal, and then you wait forever, usually months and months, and then it eventually shows up at your door, and you're like, oh, I forgot about this knife I paid $120 for like 6 months ago. Yay. And then, they also do sales where they just have stock and they'll sell it directly to you. Now, keep in mind, a lot of times it still ships from China, and it takes a while to get to you. It can still take 4 to 6 weeks, even if it says in stock on the website. So be careful with that. I've seen some people like Joe, the knife whisperer, order stuff and then really get upset because it takes forever. And I've been there because I ordered a drop keen from them, and oh my god, I ordered it, and then like 2 weeks later I emailed them back and I'm like, hey, where's this order? I haven't even gotten shipping yet or tracking information. And of course, they're the worst people to get in contact with. Somehow I annoyed them enough to get an answer, and they basically told me, oh, that one's actually out of stock. Sorry. And they just refunded me. And then like a month or two later, it was back in stock. So I ordered it again because I really wanted the drop keen with the lefty clip, which I don't have anymore. I sold it because I could go into that, but I'm not going to. It's a cool knife though. But anyway, I ordered it again, and then they had it, but it took like 6 weeks to get here, and it just kind of kills the buzz of the excitement of getting that new knife, But anyway, that's Mass Drop, now called Drop. I do have two of these actually. So this is the carbon fiber version, and this is one of the older runs because it says Mass Drop on it, and this one has been modified. So I actually bought this from a buddy off of Instagram, sharp_marbles. Really cool dude. He has really cool content on Instagram, so check him out. But I bought this off him. He was selling it for like $50, so I jumped on it because I really love this design. And I've had like 3 of these now. I actually had a carbon fiber one like this, and I sold that. And then I regretted it, so I bought the rosewood one, and that's the other one I have, but I lent that out to Kyle, DTOM Knives and Gear. So if you want to see that one, it'll be on his channel here in a little bit. USPS right now. It's in the mail. And then I got this one in, and this one's been modified. So Doug, he anodized the scales because these are actually titanium scales under the carbon fiber. So he anoded them this like bronze purple color. I don't know. I think it's bronze, but it kind of has a little tinge of purple in it. And I think it looks sweet. So I have 2 of them. I sent one out, and the other one I have, the rosewood one, is a newer one because it says drop on it, right? And I've noticed a couple differences. And the main one, actually, I've only noticed one difference. The detent. Well, I guess other than the logo being different, but the detent on this one, it's much lighter. Like I can fail this, right? I can fail this relatively easily. The rosewood one is stiffer, and when you break, it shoots out. But I will say it's almost a tiny bit too stiff, because sometimes I get a little fatigue if I flip that one, too many times in a row. And this one, I've gotten used to the detent. So, I mean, if you light switch it and give it, any little bit of gas, you're going to get it out. If you push button it, you know, it shoots out. And you guys know me. I'm a super nitpicky guy when it comes to detents. And that kind of bothered me at first. But I've gotten used to it. And I honestly think I prefer this detent now over the other one I have. Just because it doesn't hurt to flip. And there's no jimping on this flipper tab, you'll see here. So that's another reason why it's a little tough on your finger with the stiffer detent. Because sometimes you'll actually just slip completely off because it's just too strong and there's no jimping to catch. So that's really the only difference between the two. And then, of course, you know, the scales being carbon fiber instead of wood, and then the ano here. I'd say between the two, I like the look and the feel of the wood a little bit better. I didn't think I would because I'm a pretty big carbon fiber guy. But I do prefer the rosewood one. A micarta scaled one would be awesome. I don't think they've ever done a run in micarta. They've done the G10. I think it was like black and blue G10. And then they've done the carbon fiber and the rosewood. And then I think you could choose if you get a stonewash or a satin blade. The rosewood one I have also has the stonewash like this. The original carbon fiber one I had a satin blade, which was pretty cool actually. So yeah, aesthetically, let's talk about that, right? Because I rambled enough there about, you know, the knife itself and all of that. And again, it's a Ferum forged design, and it's made by We out of China. And then it's sold by Drop on drop.com. That's the way it works. And yeah, so aesthetically, this thing is absolutely stunning. I love this design. I love the size of this knife. I love the shape of this knife. I love the absolute look of this knife, and I love the ergonomics on this knife. This thing is an absolute home run. It would 100% be in a top 5 situation of if I could only ever have one knife for the rest of my life, this knife would be in the top 5. And not necessarily because it is the best knife or my favorite knife, which it is one of those, or the most expensive knife. I have a lot of knives at this point, guys. And, you know, a lot of them are pretty expensive. You know, I'm not trying to, like, you know, whatever, flex here. I'm just saying I have a lot of knives, expensive knives. So me saying this would be in the top 5 is you know, that's a big deal to me. It might even be in the top 3. And the main reasons for that are that it's just a very perfect, like, gentleman's office carry. I know that gets thrown around a lot, but this knife is very unassuming. Nobody's going to freak out if you take this out of your pocket. The clip looks like a pen clip. And then when you do open the knife, you get a very sleek looking drop point blade here. And you get fantastic ergonomics with this finger choil here. Ferum Forge is right up there with Voxnez in terms of ergonomics. And that's because of the choils. They both do very good choils. And I have another knife that I recently got, the Concept Pelican EDC. You know, that specific knife from K Maxron and Ferum Forge knives in general and Voxnez knives in general are just top of the game when it comes to ergonomics, in my opinion, right now. But, you know, your finger just lands perfectly in this big old finger choil. It's big enough for my finger. And then, you know, my other 3 fingers just perfectly land on this little bit of a swell in the handle. It's very neutral, but it does have a little bit of a swell. And it just is so comfortable. I could hold this knife and cut with this knife all day. My thumb rides up here. There's no useless jimping or anything. I can get up here for detailed cutting. It's just good in so many different grips. If you want to grip back here, you can. The clip becomes a little bit of a hot spot when I go back here. It's still comfortable, but when I'm up here, it's not a hot spot at all. It lands perfectly in my palm. And that's how I always hold this knife. It's like a box design. I just always intuitively go up, put my finger in the finger choil. Spyderco does this very well as well. I do have to mention Spyderco there. So, Saul Glesser or Eric Glesser, whoever, they do it very well too. So I don't want to leave them out in terms of ergonomics because that's one of the strong suits of Spyderco. But yeah, so ergonomically, this thing is a dream. And then you have this very thin behind the edge S35VN blade here. This is a flat grind. Kind of wants me to call it a hollow, but pretty sure it's a flat grind. That goes most of the way down, and it gets very thin. And these things are razor sharp out of the box. I've had 3 of these now, and they've all been extremely thin behind the edge, extremely good cutters. Really, really love these knives in terms of ergos, cutting, all that stuff. It carries like a dream. It has a reversible clip, guys. I can't remember the last knife I reviewed with a reversible clip. Like, it's been a while. And thank God, right? Thank God. And this clip is so classy. It's just thin and it's deep carry. It goes to the butt of the knife. Man, this thing is just a home run. And then to top it all off, right? Because, not only do you get everything I just said, you get this package for like $120 maybe. I think at like full retail, they're going for $120. But I've seen them for like $100. I've seen them in the G10 versions for like $80. I see them on Knife Swap a lot. That's where I've gotten 2 of mine. So I got this one on Instagram from Doug, _marbles, for $50. You kidding me? Doug, thank you, by the way. Basically gifted me this thing. Then I got the other carbon fiber one. The first one I got that one from OCD for EDC, actually. He had a knife sale on his channel, and that was one of the knives. And the reason I sold that was, one, because I had ordered the rosewood one, which that I bought off a Knife Swap. I had bought that one, and I figured I didn't need 2, and I kind of like the look of the wood better. And that one from Justin had like scratches on the blade from somebody trying to sharpen it. I don't know if he was like using a different system or just didn't care, or maybe he bought it secondary. I have no clue. I'm not trying to say he did it. I'm just saying that's how it came. It had these sharpening scratches down at the edge, and it also had divots in it from being hardness tested, which is kind of funny that I just brought that up, because when I asked him about that, because I got the knife and it was basically sold to me as new in box. And then I saw those scratches and I saw these divots, which at the time I didn't know what they were. And he told me it was hardness tested, and this is S35VN, and it came back at, I think it was 60 HRC, and it had 2 divots. I think it was 60 HRC and 61, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's what he told me. So, that's interesting, because we made this knife, and their S35VN is pretty good. If it's coming back at 61, 60, that's definitely acceptable to me, and that's good. That's good quality heat treat on S35. So this thing will, keep an edge very well. It's just a great steel, honestly. If you do S35VN right, it's one of the best EDC steels, in my opinion. I like M390, but I feel like M390 20CV is just like the flavor of the month. Everybody's doing it right now. It's almost like D2, but for higher end knives, and people are looking down on S35VN, and it's like, S35 is a phenomenal steel. And I don't use my knives enough for that to be a big deal. But even if I did, I don't see why people poo-poo S35VN. But it's a whole nother conversation. So the steel on this and the blade are phenomenal. Ergonomics are phenomenal. Carry is phenomenal. Value, I mean, we made for 100 to 125 bucks, with quality, almost always nail it, fit and finish. You're perfectly centered. Your action is good. I did mention the detent difference, but I do have to think that when Doug took this apart and did the anodization, that somehow altered the detent. I just can't see how it didn't, because the other carbon fiber one I had and the rosewood one I have, which again, those were different runs, because the rosewood one is from drop, and the carbon fiber one that I had before is also a mass drop one, and their detents were identical. I didn't notice a difference, but this one's a little lighter. So I just think when he did that, the anodization caused it to lighten the detent, or maybe the lock bar bent a little bit or something. I don't know. But it's not like it's bad. It's good. It's fun. It's fine. But their fit and finish from I've never had an issue. I've never had an issue with their fit and finish. I've screwed up a couple clips, and I think I stripped the screw once, and whatever. But the quality is there. So 120 bucks, value phenomenal. Recommendations for a lefty or a righty, doesn't matter. You need one of these. I don't know. Give me a reason why this isn't in your collection, unless it's I only have 4 knives and I don't like to spend a ton of money on knives and $100 is my limit. Okay, I could see that. But other than that, you need one of these. Like, it's just a sweet, sweet knife that you could take anywhere, and it's capable in almost every situation. It's just such a good knife. And the one last thing I want to talk about is the Civivi Elementum. Everybody raves about that knife, and I don't like that knife at all. I had one in the ebony wood, and the action was just not that good. You couldn't reverse the clip. It was a little heavy. It wasn't that great, and I had already experienced this knife, and I think that's why. Because basically, like the Mini Archbishop and the Odium, Civivi basically just took a Ferum Forge design and made it their own. The Elementum is basically a copy of this knife. Like, yeah, it's a little different. They changed some dynamics. It's a little thicker in the handle. Blade shape slightly more like kind of rounded at the end. But that was designed from this knife. They took the Gent and they said, okay, we're going to make a budget version of that, and we'll make it Civivi so we can cash in on that. Because everybody loves this one, right? And they came out with the Elementum, and it freaking blew up. And good for them. But they definitely stole this design to make the Elementum. So, to me, I much prefer the Gent. I would spend the extra $50 or whatever and get this. You get S35VN, you get carbon fiber, you get a better design, in my opinion. It's just slightly more refined. It's lighter weight. It's titanium scales as opposed to steel. It's this pen clip, which is reversible, so lefties can rejoice. It's probably thinner behind the edge and slicier. The action's probably better on this. I mean, it's definitely better on the ones I've had compared to the Elementum I've had. So, I can just, comfortably say I would rather have this than the Elementum. And I say that a lot when people post about the Elementum being the greatest EDC knife of all time. And I always get shit for it. But this knife's better. Get one of these. I'm going to shut up now. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. I will catch you later.